My fiancée introduced me as her assistant at a meeting. Later, I discovered she was sleeping with her boss and stealing from our wedding fund to buy him gifts, so I made her regret it. If anyone has gone through something similar, maybe you will understand how things can get twisted without you even noticing. I'm a 30-year-old man, was engaged to Rachel, a 29-year-old woman, until recently. We were together for a little over 3 years. We met through a mutual friend during a boring work event, and we hit it off immediately. She was funny, smart, and had a kind of quiet confidence. And yes, I also thought she was beautiful. Not the Instagram model type, but the kind that makes jeans and a t-shirt look better than any magazine outfit. One thing about Rachel, her family is very religious, and not the we go to church on Christmas type. Her parents were old school, very attached to the idea that dating was only for marriage, no living together before the wedding, and definitely no living in sin. She would get super anxious every time they called while we were together. She would get up from the couch, change her tone of voice, act as if she were alone. She told me once that her parents did not know she had dated anyone before me. At first, I did not understand it, but I respected it. We all have our family issues, do we not? After being together for about 2 years, I proposed. I did not do anything flashy, just a quiet dinner, a walk by the lake near our apartment, and I pulled out the ring. She cried, said yes, and told me she would finally introduce me formally to her parents. It was the first time I met Mr. and Mrs. Davis. They were polite, not exactly warm, but not rude either. Her dad joked that I was stable because I have my own HVAC and plumbing business. I found it strange that he focused on that, but well, I thought I had passed the test. After that, everything moved very quickly. Rachel moved in with me, and we started looking at wedding venues, guest lists, and all that. But from the beginning, she kept saying how free she felt, that she could finally do what she wanted without hiding or pretending. I was glad she felt comfortable. Rachel once told me that her mom used to check her clothes before she left the house, and that her dad said no man would respect her if she lived with him before marriage. Looking back, it makes sense that she kept me a secret, but it also makes sense that she rebelled as soon as she felt they could no longer control her, because she started to test the limits. She started spending a lot of time with a friend of hers, Tina. I had met her a couple of times before, but when Rachel moved in with me, Tina would come over practically every week, sometimes several times a week. She was one of those people who talk as if they are helping you, but everything they say is disguised judgment, always commenting on how small our apartment was. It is a 2-bedroom condo that I own, not rent, or dropping jokes like, I could not be with a man who wears safety boots to work, that kind of thing. I never liked her energy. And it was not just what she said, it was how she looked at me, as if I were the before picture in a TikTok transformation, as if she were waiting for Rachel to level up. The wedding planning was getting slower and slower, and to be honest, I was not that excited about it. I did not care about the flowers or the colors. I just wanted her to be happy and have the day she dreamed of. I told her from the beginning, tell me what you want and I support you. And I meant it. I was contributing to the wedding fund with automatic deposits every 2 weeks. I thought she was using that to pay for deposits, vendors, and so on. Then she got a new job at a well-known tech firm. I was happy for her. It paid better, had good benefits, but with it came a new attitude. Suddenly, I was not just the man she loved, but the one who did not understand how the corporate world works. She would make comments like, how lucky some people are to wear the same thing to work every day, or some people cannot take a nap in their truck at lunchtime. It hurt. Not because I was ashamed of my job. I built my business from scratch, and I do very well for myself. But because I felt like she was slowly replacing the version of me she loved with someone she looked down on. She told me it was just a phase, a stressful transition, but deep down I knew something had changed. We continued with the preparations, we talked about dates, we looked at rings, we chose a venue that she loved. Tina was more present than ever, making suggestions, and Rachel just followed her lead. One night, I joked that Tina should marry her, since she was doing all the planning. Rachel did not laugh. After all that, things did not calm down. If anything, they got more confusing. I remember waking up one Saturday, thinking maybe we would have a nice day. We had a list Rachel had made for the wedding, follow up with the venue, cake tasting, and something about table themes, which I did not care about, but I said I would go with her. I walked into the kitchen and there was Tina, again, as if it were her house, sitting at the island drinking a $12 green juice, and flipping through a wedding magazine as if she were being paid to plan it. Rachel was putting on makeup, half listening while Tina talked about how boring round tables were and that every reception needs a mood board. I asked if we were still going to the venue at noon. Rachel mumbled something about rescheduling because Tina had a nail appointment and they also needed to pick up fabric samples. I just stood there, feeling like an extra in my own engagement. Now, let me pause and say that I am not the kind of guy who needs to be involved in decisions about centerpieces. But this was happening way too often. Every plan we made was changed, canceled, or rescheduled because Tina had something else and Rachel always acted like it was no big deal. So, finally, I said something. It was not a fight, just a direct conversation. After Tina left that day, I said, "R.A., why is Tina involved in every step of this? I mean, is she part of this wedding, or are we?" She rolled her eyes immediately. "Why are you always on Tina's case?" "Because she is here more than I am, and I live here." Rachel crossed her arms. "She is my best friend. She is helping. You said you did not want to plan it." "Yes," I said. I said I did not want to plan it, not that I wanted to be ignored. "This is our wedding, not a passion project for you and Tina." She did not answer right away, just looked at me as if I were being overly sensitive. Then she said, "You do not understand. I have spent my whole life doing what my parents expected, what others considered right. I am finally building something that reflects who I am, and who I am does not include you." That hit me. She did not say anything else. She just stormed into the bedroom and slammed the door. I sat on the couch for an hour trying to decide if I was overreacting. Maybe I was not. That night, she acted as if nothing had happened. She started talking again about options for the wedding venue, showing me Pinterest boards, as if our earlier argument had been a deleted scene. I played along, but something felt wrong, as if a wire had been cut, and she expected me not to notice the lights flickering. The next week was more of the same. Tina started coming with us to everything. Dress fittings, Tina's opinion was worth more than mine. Menu tasting, Tina knew what her palate preferred. Even for the music, Rachel asked Tina, not me. I started to feel like just her driver, her ATM, a background character while she lived this curated version of herself. But I kept biting my tongue because deep down I still wanted to marry the version of her I fell in love with. The girl from the charity event, the one who laughed at my dumb jokes and lit up when I brought home takeout after her long days. One night, Tina was at the house again. They were drinking matcha or kombucha or whatever expensive grass juice they liked, talking about a co-worker of Rachel's named Darren. I had heard that name before, in stories about projects or team meetings. This time, Rachel mentioned that Darren was taking some colleagues to a networking event on a rooftop. Tina said, "You should go. That environment is good for you." Very refined. Rachel laughed. "Yes, maybe I will go. It is good to be seen in the right spaces." They both fell silent when I walked in. That night, I could not sleep. My mind was racing. Every time I closed my eyes, I thought about how she said she felt free now, that she was building something. But what exactly was she building? Because I was no longer sure I was a part of it, and maybe I did not want to be anymore. A few days later, she came home late again. She said it was a team-building dinner. She smelled of a perfume she never wore with me. I did not say anything. I did not need to. That is the point. You start to stay quiet. Not because you do not care, but because you care too much and nothing changes. And the quieter I became, the more she acted like everything was fine, as if she did not notice that I stopped asking questions, as if she did not care that I was pulling away. A couple of nights later, I told her, "Hey, I am going out on Thursday after work. Some friends from the shop are getting together for a bite to eat." She did not ask with whom or where. She just said, "Cool, have fun," and went back to looking at her phone. Anyway, I left work, went for a quick bite, and then checked my phone. Josh had sent a message, "Hey, change of plans. Malik's sister had a small accident. Nothing serious, but he has to take care of it. We will reschedule for next week." Totally understandable. I told them no problem and that I would just go home and rest. I was not in the mood to do anything anyway. I got to the apartment a little before 8. Rachel was not expecting me until much later, so I thought I would come in quietly, take a shower, and maybe catch up on work emails. But as soon as I opened the building door and started up the stairs, I heard some muffled laughter down the hallway. At first, I did not think much of it. Probably Rachel and Tina talking again. But when I got to the door, I stopped. I do not know what made me stop, but something in the tone of their voices. The The way they were laughing felt wrong. It was not cheerful or casual. It was sharp, almost cruel. I put my hand on the doorknob, but I did not turn it. Instead, I stepped back a bit. I leaned against the side where the wall thins out next to the kitchen and put my ear to it. My heart was already pounding, tight in my chest. I did not even really know what I was listening for. Then, I clearly heard Tina's voice. So, what is the plan? Are you still going to marry him? Rachel burst out laughing. Not a giggle, but a full belly laugh that makes your stomach hurt. I do not know, she said. Honestly, I am just letting it ride for now. Tina snorted. Girl, you could be with someone so much better. Darren is clearly into you. You are not going to get opportunities like this forever. Darren, that name again. Her boss? Or maybe a manager higher up. She had mentioned him in passing, always casually. Nothing more than he has a nice car. Or he is one of the leaders. Then Rachel said it. I have been talking to him a lot after meetings. He asked me about Dallas again. He said there is a real opportunity for me if I take it seriously. Tina chimed in. So go? You have everything set up. And let us be honest, Alex is not on your level anymore. I swear I felt the air leave my lungs. Rachel did not say anything for a few seconds. Then she said, I know. I have not told him yet, but I have already started to arrange everything. I have enough saved, and if I keep the wedding fund active, I can take what I need until I get the transfer. I just have to find a clean way to end it. Tina laughed again. What is there to clean up? Just tell him you realized you grew in different directions. Rachel, yeah, maybe. Or maybe I will wait until I am in Dallas. By then it will not matter. It was at that moment that my hand stopped shaking and started to move. I took out my phone, opened the voice recorder, and started recording. Then Rachel, laughing again, said, You know what is crazy? I told people at work that Alex is my assistant. They literally think he just drives me around and drops things off for me sometimes. They both burst into laughter. She thinks she is funny, Tina said, but honestly, she should be more strategic. You already used my connection to get in there. Do not waste it. Darren has money. Do you think the plaster guy is going to pay for your flights to Miami for training conferences? I am not stupid, Rachel said. I am getting everything I need out of this before I leave. I stood there for another half a minute, making sure the recording had enough. Then I slowly turned the knob, closed the hallway door without making a sound, and walked back to my truck. I did not drive right away. I just sat there with my forehead resting on the steering wheel. I could not even be angry yet. I was in that strange state where you know the truth, but you do not know what to do with it. Part of me wanted to burst in, kick down the door, and blow everything up right then and there. But I did not. I did not trust myself not to say something I would later regret. So, instead, I became tactical. That is what it does. Pain turns impulse into strategy. She was planning to leave me, not only that, but to empty our wedding account, change the narrative, and disappear while she upgraded to her rich boss in another state. And she was telling everyone that I was her assistant. Not her fiancé, not her partner, not the guy who paid the rent, built a life, and tried to give her the wedding she claimed to want, her assistant. I finally started the engine, drove a few blocks, parked again, played the recording, and listened to the whole thing without skipping. Then I emailed it to myself. After that, I went back home in silence, calm. She was already asleep or pretending to be. In any case, I did not wake her. I did not say a word. I lay down next to her and stared at the ceiling until the sunlight started to come through the blinds. I had a decision to make, but I already knew what I was going to do. The next morning, I woke up before Rachel. She was still curled up facing the window, with that calm expression, as if nothing in the world was wrong. I watched her for a few seconds, not because I missed her, but because I could not believe how fake it all was. 3 years of shared memories, plans, a future, and she was plotting how to get rid of me as if I were a minor character in her career ascent. I got up, made coffee as usual. Later she came into the kitchen, yawning, checking her phone, wearing one of my old t-shirts. She kissed me on the cheek and asked if I wanted to go cake tasting that weekend at that bakery she liked. I said, yes, of course. And I smiled, but I had no plans to taste any cake. That afternoon I called every vendor we had supposedly hired. The venue, no record of a reservation. The florist said they had been in touch, but never confirmed. The photographer, same story, sent a quote and never heard back. I was not surprised. I had already seen that the wedding account was almost empty, but hearing it directly from them made it real. Rachel was not planning a wedding. She was draining money from our joint account for something else. I went back into the account and pulled all the transactions from the last 3 months. Restaurants I had never been to, hotel charges, boutique purchases, Ubers in neighborhoods nowhere near our home. It was not wedding stuff. It was her living as if she already had 1 foot out the door. I called the bank and reported the misuse of a shared account. They guided me through the process. Then I called a lawyer and explained everything. The withdrawals, the recording, the timeline. He asked, "Are you already married?" "No," I said. "Good. She has no legal claim to your assets unless your name is on her debts. And from what you were showing me, you could pursue civil action if you decide to go that route." He told me it would not be a sure win, especially since we were not legally married. But with the recordings, the money trail, and how she used my name to advance socially, I had a solid case. Even if we did not win much, she would have to answer questions she would not want to be asked. I was not sure if I wanted to sue. Honestly, I did not want to drag this out. I just wanted her gone, but I asked him to prepare everything in case she tried to resist. The next day, I called a locksmith, paid the emergency fee, changed the locks while she was at work, put all her things in the guest room, removed her from the electricity and Wi-Fi accounts. Then I packed up every dress, every pair of shoes she had left in the living room, every box of Tina's junk that was taking up our closet space, and I piled it all by the door. And I waited. She got home around 6:30, tried to open the door, but could not. I saw her through the peephole as she fumbled with the key, confused. She knocked harder each time. I opened the door calmly. She was shocked. "Why did you change the locks?" she asked. I stepped aside and pointed to the piled boxes. "Your things are packed. Come back tomorrow. Bring a friend if you need help." She narrowed her eyes. "What are you talking about?" "I heard everything," I told her. "You and Tina. On Thursday night." Her face fell as if the air had been knocked out of her. "You were not supposed to be home," she whispered. "Yes," I replied. "Plans changed. Funny how that happens." She started talking fast. "Alex, listen to me. It was not what it seemed. I recorded everything." Silence. Then she exploded. "You had no right to what? To find out you were using me? That you drained our account? That you lied about the wedding? That you were telling people I was your assistant? You should be grateful I am not suing you. You cannot do this. You cannot." "I simply can. And I did. You wanted freedom. You have it. Go be whoever you want to be, but not from my apartment and not with my money." She tried to push past me. I stood in front of the door. "No. Come back tomorrow. Pack your things. Leave your key. You are done here." She stood there, breathing heavily, looking around as if she expected a camera crew to pop out and tell her it was a prank. Then she muttered, "You are going to regret this." I shrugged. "Maybe, but you are going to regret it sooner." She turned and stormed off. No dramatic scene, no final speech, just the sound of her heels clicking down the hallway. I closed the door, locked it, sat down on the couch, and for the first time in months, the apartment was silent. Too silent, but it was peace. And I finally felt like I could breathe again. She waited a few hours, probably let the shock settle in. Then, the messages started. First from her. "Do you really think changing the lock was a power move? LOL. I was already planning to leave you." Then Tina. "Ha ha ha. Bro, you think you did something? Rachel was over you months ago. You just sped up the process." Then Rachel again. "You are so insecure. Always afraid I would find someone better. Congratulations, you pushed me out the door." Then Tina again. She would not shut up. It was just a stop on her way, not the destination. That wedding fund, consider it a tax for wasting her time. And look, I am not going to lie. Those texts hurt when everything is fresh. Not because I believed them, but because I knew she did. They thought they had the upper hand, that I was going to give up, that I was going to beg, that I was going to fall apart while they paraded their victorious mean girl act. What they did not know was that by the time they got around to talking arrogantly, I had already sent the recording. I found Darren, the boss. The company's website had all the senior management listed with their email. I took a snippet of the audio and cleaned it up a bit. No accusations, just facts. I created a fake email and sent it to Darren along with a note. "I thought you should know what is being said using your name. I am her fiancé, not her assistant." Darren received it. Rachel's parents did too. The next message I received was from Mr. Davis, her father. "I am sorry, Alex. I had no idea any of this was happening. Could we meet tomorrow? My wife and I would like to speak with you directly." I stared at that message for a minute. Polite, cold, direct. There was no justification, no defense of Rachel, just a request for a meeting. That told me everything I needed to know. I replied, of course. And when the next morning came, so did the consequences. Around 10 in the morning, I received another message from Rachel, this time not so arrogant. What did you do? I ignored it. Then came the call. I let it ring. Then the voicemail. Alex, I got fired. Darren said someone sent them a file. They called me into HR and terminated my contract. I do not even know what to say. I just need to talk to you. What she really meant was, I need you to fix the mess I created. I did not reply. Another message. I am going to my parents. This is your fault. I put my phone on silent. An hour later, Mr. Davis called me directly. This time, I answered. He did not ask how I was, did not waste a second on small talk. He just said, we talked to her. I wanted to thank you for being honest. She will not be staying here. I paused. That is it. She already arrived with her suitcase. We turned her away. I did not know what to say. Then he added, we raised her to honor her commitments. What she did, I am not going to pretend to understand it, but I am not going to reward it either. And he hung up. 10 minutes later, Rachel was at my door, not knocking politely, but banging hard, screaming my name as if the building were on fire. I opened the door just enough to block her way. She looked nothing like the haughty version from the text messages. Frizzy hair, red eyes, smudged makeup, carrying a gym bag, and pure fury on her face. You ruined my life, she spat. I said nothing. I lost my job. My parents will not even look at me. My phone will not stop ringing with people asking why I deleted my profile. What the hell did you send them? The truth. She shook her head. You are not resentful. You are petty. You just wanted to humiliate me. You humiliated yourself. I just gave them the audio. She clenched her jaw. It was Tina. She was pressuring me. She told me to act like I was above you, that if I wanted to get promoted, I had to look the part. Sounds like you listened to her. She threw her hands in the air. I made a mistake, just one. You ruined my future. I leaned in calm. You called me your assistant while using my money. You lied about our wedding. You were planning to move to Dallas. You slept with Darren. That is not one mistake. That is a whole resume of betrayal. Her voice broke. I did not even like him that much. It was not supposed to go this far, but it did. And now the only thing going further is the distance between you and everyone who used to trust you. She was silent for a moment, and then she started to plead. Please, let me in. Let me explain. You know I am not like this. This is not me. I shook my head. No, Rachel, this is exactly you. You have just run out of people to lie to. She tried to force her way in. I blocked the door. Do not make this harder. She stared at me for a long second. Then she dropped her bag, broke down crying, that ugly kind of crying. She sat in the hallway as if she could not move. I left her sitting there, closed the door, locked it, and then I opened my laptop and finished the report. If she wanted to build a new life with my money, she was going to pay for every dollar of it. She made her move. I made mine. Now it was her turn to sit in the rubble she created. When I opened the door again, she was gone. The gym bag, her dignity, vanished. She probably texted Tina to pick her up. If that friendship still existed, it must not have been easy to explain to your accomplice that your own family kicked you out. But I had more important things to attend to, like the lawsuit. I met with my lawyer that week, brought every piece of evidence, bank statements, timelines, the recording, a printout of the wedding account with every questionable charge marked and dated. Lingerie boutiques, hotel stays, everything documented. He reviewed it and said, this is airtight. You are not married, so she has no legal claim to your income or your assets, but you can sue her for fraudulent use of shared funds and for intentional infliction of emotional distress. Do it, I told him. Let her finally pay for something herself. We filed 2 lawsuits, one for financial damages and another for defamation, based on her telling her coworkers that I was her assistant and making fun of me behind my back in professional settings while using my status as her fiancé to benefit from corporate connections she was not entitled to. You think that is spiteful? I call it justice. She told the world I was a nobody while she was emptying me out. That is not just lying, it is strategy. So I responded with my own strategy. My lawyer sent the official notice to her cousin's address. That was where she was staying. No lawyer, obviously, no job, reputation ruined, and her parents were no longer answering her calls. The same people who used to praise her for being so mature and focused now pretended she did not exist. I got a call a few days after she was served with the papers. Unknown number. Again, voicemail. Alex, please, I got the papers. I do not have that kind of money. Are you really going to take me to court? Yes, I was. The next day, I received a message from Tina. Are you really going to go through with this? You have already made your point. I texted back, not yet. And then I blocked her, because here is the truth. I did not just want to win, I wanted the story to be told. So I contacted Darren's company again. This time, not from a fake email. I signed with my name, attached all the same evidence I gave my lawyer, and explained that Rachel had used her position, her fake engagement story, and her connection with Tina to get into internal company spaces where she had no business being. They replied, no, but they did not need to. A few days later, I noticed their company website silently updated its internal conduct policy. No names, no story, just new lines about misrepresentation, dual relationships, and professional ethics. Funny how the timing worked out. Rachel was not just unemployed, she was blacklisted. Not officially, not with headlines. But that is how these companies work. They do not give you a second chance when you lied to get the first one, and even less when you drag someone else down with you. Meanwhile, my business was booming. I started getting more calls. Word got around that I had acquired a second truck and hired a new apprentice. It turns out stability looks very attractive when people realize you are not someone who plays games with others. Even a former co-worker of Rachel's contacted me. He said he heard about what happened. He asked if I needed commercial HVAC services for his office renovation. Funny how life turns out. The same people who laughed when she called me her assistant were now calling me, sir. So, Rachel filed a response to the lawsuit, handwritten, without a lawyer, just a 3-page letter trying to explain that the money was used for mutual plans and that she was emotionally distressed when she said what she said. She even tried to argue that the audio recording violated her privacy. My lawyer read it, shook his head, and said, this is going to be fun. We filed a full rebuttal with dates, payment receipts, calendar invites from the vendors she never hired, and a notarized statement from a former coworker of hers, confirming that she introduced me as her assistant at a networking event. That was the final nail in the coffin. So now she is cornered. She cannot pay, she cannot run, she cannot talk her way out of trouble, and I do not even have to lift a finger. The last I heard, Tina blocked her. Apparently, her own little side business collapsed when Rachel's audio started circulating like wildfire through group chats. One of Tina's brand partners, one of those she worked with as an influencer, dropped her. Because guess what? When your brand is built on fake confidence and fake self-love, being exposed as a manipulative opportunist does not do much for engagement. Rachel called me again last week. She said she needed closure. I did not answer. I do not owe closure to someone who only shows up when they have nothing left. She wanted to be unstoppable, untouchable. Now she cannot touch anything without it burning. And that, for me, is peace. Update. Rachel's parents asked to meet and left a check on the table. Hello, everyone. I thought it would be a good idea to leave one last update before closing all this out in court. After everything that happened, Rachel getting fired, her parents cutting ties, her crying in my hallway, I thought that was it. Honestly, I did not expect to hear from her parents again after that cold message from her father. But a week later, I received a message from Mr. Davis. Short, direct, we would still like to meet in person, if you are willing. Just a man who probably had a few sleepless nights realizing his golden child was all smoke. I agreed. I told him I had time that weekend. We met at an old coffee shop. I arrived early, ordered a coffee, and waited. They came in together, both with faces that had not seen a smile in days. His mother looked at me as if I were not there, not with coldness, but with sadness. Mr. Davis did most of the talking. He did not sugarcoat it. He said he and his wife were ashamed, disappointed, humiliated, all the possible feelings. They said they believed Rachel was mature and focused, that they had no idea what was happening behind their backs. She lied to us too, he said. He said she played the part perfectly, that the wedding was on track, that I supported her in her career, that everything was fine. I just nodded. Then he took a folded check out of his coat and placed it on the table between us. $8,200. Half of what you said she took from the joint account. We know we cannot undo what she did, but we want to take some of the responsibility for how we raised her. I did not touch the check at first. I just looked at it. Then, his mother finally spoke in a low voice. The first words since she came in. She was supposed to be better than this. We failed her, and you. And let me be clear, I did not expect them to offer anything. Definitely not money. I thought maybe an awkward apology and a mutual God bless. But for them to leave me a check with no strings attached, that was something else. I told them I appreciated the gesture, that they did not owe me anything, but that I would accept it anyway. Not because I needed it, but because it meant they finally saw her for who she really was. Mr. Davis said, "We are not paying to clean up her mess. We are making amends with the man who did not deserve to be caught up in it." We talked a little more about work, life, the court case. They did not ask me to drop the charges. They did not ask me to be the bigger man. They just said they hoped that one day their daughter could fix what she broke. I did not say much to that. After they left, I sat there for a while, looking at that check. Not for the money, but for the weight it carried. Rachel tried to burn everything down on her way out. But even those who saw her as a flawless princess now saw the ashes. She wanted control. Instead, she got consequences, and now I have half my money back, a court case moving forward, and the quiet satisfaction of knowing that she has no one left to blame but herself. Maybe there is more to come, if she tries another move.